We are back with League of Legends patch 26.13. I don't really have much to say. Let's just get into it. So first and foremost, LOCKE is coming to the game. Now, normally what I try to do is I try to do some swift play with LOCKE as a champion and or whatever the new champion is and try to get at least a couple games on it, but I think we're going to go ahead and skip past that this time. I think I'm mostly just interested in the patch notes. But last time we were here, we did go over LOCKE's kit. So you can always look at the previous video if you're not caught up on how his abilities work and everything, but we went over it already. Very much a Helsing ultimate kind of character, right? Anderson, and then his skin makes him look like Vash from Trigun. So yeah, we went over LOCKE last time, so let's just continue. Aphelios, 200 years. Since his nerfs earlier this year, Aphelios has fallen in priority and win rate. With some power budget freed up, we're pulling back on some of those earlier nerfs to highlight each gun's unique strengths. You know, Aphelios is a weird one, because he's another one of those champions, in my opinion, that is just gate-kept by better players, right? Because, you know, you always have the memes of people are still reading Aphelios' passive to this day, stuff like that. So he's like a super complex character, but I feel like really, really, really good players, they take this character and they pop off and he's incredible. So they have a weird situation with balance here where you want to keep him playable for lower skill level players without making him just completely busted for the better players. So Calibrum, I believe that is the sniper, right? Passive mark damage increased by 5% on the bonus AD. Severum, this is the lifesteal. It was 19 to 40% total attack damage. Now it's 20 to 41%, so plus 1% on its bonus total attack damage. Infernum, that's the flamethrower, obviously. The AoE. Duskwave damage for the Q. It's a lot of numbers. 10 to 1, 20 to 110. 15 to 20. Oh, okay, so it's a 5% bonus AD buff. So it was 10 to 16 bonus AD. Now it's 15 to 21% bonus AD. And then Crescendum, that's the boomerangs. Q sentry damage. So this is actually the little turret that they're buffing. 35 to 125. Once again, a bonus attack damage buff. So it was 30 to 48%. Now it's 34 to 52%. So a 4% attack damage buff. So this is all just increasing his bonus AD, right? Yeah. These are AD percentage buffs. So he's going to be hitting a lot harder by the time he gets a few items. Is Aphelios one of those champs that like prioritizes attack speed plus crit? I don't know. He's going to have huge power spikes when he does finish those big AD items, right? He finishes an IE, he's going to be hitting way harder. Bloodthirster potentially, if this champ builds it. I don't know that it does. I don't think he does, but yeah. Bard. All right. Bard has needed nerfs for a while. This champ builds whatever the hell he wants out of any class, still does half your health and damage, and he's extremely fast and ridiculously hard to catch, and a good ult from him completely changes the game. So we got to change to his passive here. Damage per meep. 35 plus 10 per 5 champs. 40% AP. 30 plus 6 per 5 champs. So minus 4 damage flat. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it's per 5 chimes. So, you know, if he has 100 chimes down the way, that's minus 40 damage, you know. So it works. I don't know if it'll be good enough, but I kind of am okay with it because Bard's a hard champion anyway. It is so easy to just troll the game and troll your team with this champ. So we'll see if that's enough. Normally, small nerfs like this are meant to pull down some champion's pick rate more than anything. Brand continues to dominate bot lane for most players. Obviously, I mean, Mage's bot lane is so difficult to deal with, especially a champ like Brand. He can W you from so far away. And since it is Brand, he can actually press E on the minion wave to spread his passive, not just to the whole minion wave, but also to enemy champions. And then that procs Comet, that procs Deathfire, right? And it's just point and click. He's in no danger whatsoever. So they've increased his base mana regen, but his passive minus 2% to the damage from the explosion. So yeah, minus 2% early. It's just weaker. The explosion is weaker earlier. And Conflagration, 70 to 90, has been equalized at 90 mana cost. So this is what I was saying. It's really this ability that makes laning against him suck so much. Getting poked by his Q and his W sucks, but they can be avoided. You can't avoid this. This is a point and click spread fire to everything. So yeah, cute little nerfs to Brand there, and they compensate it with a little more mana regen. I think he's still just going to be a big issue because again, they're just taking Deathfire Touch and Comet, right, and just pressing E on the minion wave, and it's unavoidable damage. Cassiopeia, health per level minus 6. Risen to the top of pro play presence even before our nerfs. We'd like to preserve some of her unique strengths. So this is a pro-specific nerf. Now, you don't see a lot of Cassiopeia. I swear Cassiopeia is S tier broken. She's just really hard to play, so you just don't see her. But, you know, pro play is where you're going to see it, right? Because those are the best players. Draven. As marksman meta has evolved around crit, on-hit, and caster builds, Draven has fallen behind. We're buffing his heavy AD pattern instead of trying to redirect his itemization. So E, stand aside, has a 2-second lower cooldown, so he has that more reliably. Whirling Death, his ultimate. Damage reduction. Minus 8% down to 40%. Minus 5% down to a minimum of 50%. Right, so if you hit multiple targets, it's actually doing more damage overall now. Draven's a weird one because I feel like Draven's banned every other lobby. And it's really because this champ is like PTSD inducing. Right? Like, it just sucks to have this champion get ahead even a little bit. Right? Like, he has like a Nautilus or a Leona or something. And then your bot lane gets 1 kill early on. And then he just snowballs out of control. Now he's 2-shotting everything. And the champ plays super ignorantly too, especially in lane. Like, he's just running at you the whole time. He's a feast or famine champion though, right? He's like Samira. Like, when he gets ahead, the champ just kills everyone, and there's nothing you can do about it. When the champ's behind, it's like, whatever. So we'll see. This will, at the very least, get Draven's pick rate up, and like I said, he's banned half the time anyway, so he's just going to get banned more too, at this point. Kai'Sa. Cooldown. 22 to 14 is now 20 to 14 on her Void Seeker, so a little bit lower cooldown on her W early. I don't know that changes a whole lot. I mean, it helps her hit a minion from far away. You're not really using this ability for damage early on. Killer Instinct, her ultimate, 70 to 110 is now 100 to 200. Wow, so that's a huge flat buff to the shield she gets. Plus 90 at level 3. And now the AP... No, the ratios are the same. So it's just a huge flat buff to her shield. I can actually see that because a lot of Kai'Sa builds are especially AP focused. At least the Kai'Sas I've been running into, a lot of them have been doing AP. So buffing the Void Seeker and then making the shield bigger so she's using it for more than just utility and she's using it to actually try to make a big play. I can understand that. Well, no Kai'Sas I've seen are just like hard AP or anything, but they build like... They'll build like Nashor's Tooth plus Zonya's Hourglass plus like Static Shiv. So it's not exactly like they're 100% poke you to death, but they really do all in on the magic damage. At least from what I've seen. I don't know. I don't play a lot of Kai'Sa. K'Sante. A major beneficiary of the Doran's helm entering the mix in Season 2, so we're lightly tapping down his early reliability. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. For a lot of these tanks that scale really, really well with resistances rather than HP, like Kassanti, Ornn, and a couple others, I would even say Poppy. But Poppy's more of a support and jungler nowadays than she is a top liner, so maybe it's not that big of a deal. Anyway, changes to his shield. 80 to 240 plus 15%. Is now 70 to 240, so 10 less early, which makes sense. You max this ability last, so this minus 10 actually matters. And then minus 2.5, or sorry, 1.5% of the bonus health. Which once again makes sense since you're trading out the HP for resistances. So the shield is going to be notably weaker in the early game. LeBlanc. Not even just the early game, now that I think about it. It's going to be notably weaker throughout almost all stages of the game. Anyway, LeBlanc. Wants a better reward. LeBlanc plays for landing some of her less guaranteed damage, rather than giving her more gank or lane support, both of which she does really well already. So her RQ1 and RE1 damage. So plus 10 at level 2 and plus 20 at level 3. Mark/root damage. Plus 20. Plus 40. RW damage. 15, 30. So a little bit of extra little damage there to LeBlanc. It's specifically on a lot of her on her mimic damage, right? So this is specifically when you cast an ability and then you use her R to get a second ability. You get bonus damage on all her abilities now. Not bad, I suppose. The double damage is going to be a little bit better. Olaf. Olaf used to be a staple in the jungle, but has been cut off favor for a while now, despite our earlier attempts this season to help him out. Monster bonus physical damage, 20 to 80 is now 20 through 120. So Undertow. This helps immensely with Olaf's clear in an attempt to get him back into the jungle. Okay. I don't know that this is the biggest buff ever, but, you know, whenever they really want a champion to do well in the jungle, they just buff the clear. Poppy. I was just talking about Poppy. Jungle class diversity has been dominated almost exclusively by fighters for a while now. We think Poppy is a good pick for a tankier counter option. So you say, but I really feel like if you bring Poppy jungle back into the mix, it's going to be a Divine Sunder into Deadman's Plate, right? Like that's jungle Poppy in a nutshell. And then you have some people like one of my good friends, he loves doing lethality Poppy jungle. But like I was just saying with Olaf, they're trying to bring Poppy back into the jungle, so they increased her monster damage cap by 25 once you max the Q. So again, her clear is going to be easier. Are you going to do it with Qiyana as well? Absolutely. Another class underrepresented in the jungle is Assassin, so Qiyana's getting a monster damage buff to increase her clear chance. 20% on her Q, actually. Rek'Sai, speaking of junglers, I see Rumble too. Are you going to increase Rumble? Okay. Rek'Sai. So, Furious Bite, physical damage 80 through 192, plus 64 is now 70 through 170. So it's actually a bit weaker, plus 60% bonus AD, so minus 4% bonus AD as well. And minus 5% bonus true damage. Really? I feel like I don't see Rek'Sai much at all. Too successful at high ranks. Okay, I'm not high enough rank, I guess. I'm playing in Diamond. Or Diamond MMR, because I haven't actually been playing a whole lot of ranks since the new split started. But that's still Diamond MMR, right? Like there's still just Diamond players in my lobbies. I guess it's not a high enough rank to see more Rek'Sai. Rumble has been an extremely reliable blind pick top laner for a long time. Yes, please just nerf him. Damage 60 to 160 plus 100% is now 50 to 125. Or sorry, 50 to 150 plus 1. Yeah, so he has a little less base damage on his Flame Spitter, but a little bit higher AP scaling. So it's more of an adjustment than an actual nerf. You're bringing down his laning prowess slightly in exchange for him being stronger later. I don't know. Not particularly happy about it. I hate laning against Rumble. I feel like most of us kind of hate laning against Rumble. But I guess I'd rather lane against Rumble than like range top, which I've been seeing so much Aurora lately for some reason. Senna. Okay, you all know the deal at this point. Senna's getting changed. Her soul drop chance. This is the only thing they changed on this champion ever. Soul drop chance when Senna kills it, halved to 5%. Soul drop chance when an ally kills it, increased a little bit. So once again, pushing forward the Senna support angle rather than Senna ADC. This is all they ever do. Crit damage change as well. Cooldown refund on her Q is on attack rather than on hit. Softening her farming and chip synergy while also tuning her DPS around, having access to more souls. Don't tell nerf should do the rest of the work necessary to get her the right power level between rolls. Between rolls, yeah, you're just trying to... It is funny to me that Senna receives the exact same changes twice a year. Literally, wait 5 months and they're going to do the exact opposite with her passive again. And then she's going to be a meta bot laner again. And then they're going to do this exact same nerf again. It's getting kind of old. Sion. Sion's been resilient in both solo queue and pro play for a long time, so we're weakening some of his reliable early lane power. Decimating smash minimum damage. 40 through 120 is now 30 through 90. That's actually kind of a big hit. Me personally, I like the tankier Sion build. If I could go Heartsteel into Titanic Hydra into Overlord's Bloodmail every single game, I would. That is just my preferred way to play Sion. Max HP damage. Right? I want to end the game with 10,000 HP with the Titanic Hydra and 500 AD. If I could do that every game, I absolutely would. I mean, that's just how I play Sion. So Furnace mana. 65 to 85 is now 75 to 95. So the W costs a little bit more mana as well. This is going to be a good tap down, right? This damage adds up. These mana costs add up. So I think that's a pretty good nerf. And it's especially a nerf towards higher levels of play. Vex. Vex had less of an impact in her games than we think she should. Yeah, I never see Vex. Like, literally ever. Looming Darkness, her E, 1 second lower. Okay. Shadow Surge, reset timer window, 2 seconds longer. I don't think this is really going to bring back a whole lot of Vex. I never see this champ. Like, I literally just never see her. Zahin. Dreaded Return, so this is his W. And the cooldown's a little lower early. So 16 to 12 is now 14 to 12. Okay. Zahin might be the most balanced new champion they've released in a while. Like, I've seen people complain about him when he pops off. Sorry, had to check. I've seen people complain when he pops off, but like, I've never seen people like actually look at Zahin and think, wow, this needs an immediate nerf. This champ needs to be permabanned. You know? Doran's Helm, this got spoiled for us with Senna. Armor and magic resist -2, health +10. So a little bit less resistances in exchange for a little bit more health. That is actually meaningful. The numbers seem small, but this is meaningful. Champs like I was saying earlier, Kassanti, he actually gets bonuses based on his bonus armor and MR. And same with like Ornn. So they actually are kind of upset about losing the resistances in exchange for the HP, because the resistances are way more important to those champions specifically. And the item just scales worse if it's just a little bit of extra flat HP. Imperial Mandate. Yeah, so they changed Imperial Mandate last patch. And it looks like they're smoothing out the build path here. Blasting 1 mirror is now Amp Tome mirror and another Amp Tome. So no Blasting 1. Instead, it's 2 Amp Tomes. 5 less ability power. Ability haste for immobilizing ability. Oh my god. 5 more ability haste for immobilizing abilities. That might be a big deal. And the vulnerable gets increased by 1%. Yeah, this is still going to be a very experimental item. I'm just saying right away, at some point, people are gonna realize the tech with this item, and some champion is gonna pop off and build this every game, and it's gonna be meta defining for just those one or couple champs that built this. Last hit indicators. We're enabling last hit indicators for normal draft games. What? Rather than understanding exactly when you can last hit a minion, and also pretty common that these don't degrade skill expression in. This game is for babies. They're gonna make it easier for you to last hit? I mean, I guess so, right? Lower skill level players and new players as well that are coming into the game. Maybe this is a very beneficial feature, especially in norms, where it's no stakes. I don't know if you should put this in ranked. I feel like ranked is where the skill expression should be at its peak. So I don't know about adding it to ranked, but that is a very interesting change. At this rate, they're going to turn on the little outline for the turret as well in normals. Which is, I mean, why not? At this point, you might as well. Hello, Aramer. So some big changes to Era Mayhem. We played a little bit of that last week. Changes to ranked 5s. Reporting direct messages. Yeah, we've seen that already as well. Discord integration, bug fixes, and of course some new skins. So Trigun Locke, High Noon Akshan, and what is this? Broken Covenant, Jin Aurora, and Shen. Okay. I mean, Broken Covenant kind of was like the dark fantasy skins, right? I don't know about using the green and purple. It seems a little less dark and a more kind of plant-like in a way, like poison ivy. That's kind of what I'm thinking of. Makes sense for Shen. He's a ninja. They just kind of reformat him into being a cool knight. I kind of don't like the colors for it, but I'm sure that there's probably chromas for this. Jin, very strange, but I kind of like that he has this, what is this, like an organ or some sort of cathedral over his shoulder? And I don't know about Aurora. I mean, this is just an excuse to sell skins at this point, right? The cute autistic girl sells skins. Yay. Let me look at these chromos for Shin real fast. Ooh, this one. This one in the bottom right, the black and red one. Very nice. Well, anyway, guys, that's going to do it for me. So, overall, not the craziest patch. Not a whole lot came to mind for me there. I mean, some of the changes are a little bit appreciated, especially like small nerfs to Rumble, for example. I'm a top laner, so you know how I feel about dealing with stuff like that. But I don't know. We'll see if these changes to the jungle bring back these champions. I feel like Kiana jungle's definitely going to be back. Don't know that she'll outperform Neferi, though. And yeah, we're going to call it there. Thanks for tuning in. I know it was a quick one, but, you know, that's how it is. So thanks for tuning in. I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.